I repeat, Runa team FF'd out of today's match, thus we will not have a 5 p.m. game, but all signs are pointing to our 8 p.m. game still going on, which will be between Passion UA and of course Call Me Chada. More than likely, the reason for the Runa FF for today's game is due to the fact that Runa team are playing the grand finals of CIS Battle tomorrow. And yeah, in general, it's just good to focus on one tournament at a time. They didn't really do good here anyway in European Pro League Season 29. But yeah, Impossible with a slight chance of making it out of the groups, but we shall see. They have to get through LevelUP, who are also looking to gain just a little bit more on those points, so gaining more and more of that money is always nice. But it is going to be the last group stage match for LevelUP, and of course, as they pick up the Atuf Pugna, I must say I'm kind of lenient towards the LevelUP esports side. Now, despite you making it through the group stage, right? I'm pretty sure LevelUP are not going to be going easy against the other team. The biggest reason why, okay, there's this status of, okay, I made it out of the group stages, but I don't really need the games. There are two options here. For one reason, a lot of the teams have contracts where they get bonuses for wins in general. So, like, the more you win, the more money you get at the end of the month. Sure. So you could go for that in general. For another reason, to get more W's is to solidify that you're going to be first place. Because Namiga still has the opportunity to get a good match. Giving them the opportunity to get 3 points and then, just catching up to you is not a situation you want to be in. And you did lose the head-to-head against Amiga, so if you're not the one choosing opponents when it comes to playoffs, that is not a good place to be in general. So, overall, I always am looking skeptically at the notion of teams just throwing away group stage matches, because it's just not worth it. Yeah, there's a monetary incentive to win more, and then there's also the fact that, winning is everything, so there's pride on the line. The way you get those insane statistics on so many players is you take even the weakest enemy extremely seriously and beat them down into a pulp. I think one of the most fun example of, taking the match seriously and, sizing up the enemy well, and then not separating pro players versus pub players is, in general, there's they just released this. Which team was it? It was like 2 or 3 months ago, wasn't it? Oh, it's Team Liquid. Team Liquid does all this shit all the time, right? And I think it was Insania and Boxy. But it wasn't Neta anymore. Of course it's not Neta anymore. Neta's been playing on Tundra, idiot. Was it Nisha or Saber? I think, oh, it was Saberlight. Yes, Saberlight was playing mid. And yeah, it was 3 versus 6. Then it was 3 versus 12. It was like 3 versus 18. I don't remember. I think they played in 12v12 mode. But one thing's for certain, we're going to have a 5v5 here on the mid lane into J. Rolling over with the Earth Spirit. But gets screwed. The first blood is going to Atuf. As of course the Frenchman is going to go crazy with the Pugna. And he's going to lay down the law with the triple kill. Très monde, that is, mon ami, that is, qu'est-ce qui se passe? I don't know. Awesome. That was a freaking awesome start for a Frenchman. And of course, we really like the Frenchman here in Dota. Especially if they're called Sebastien. But You know, I don't actually know what Atuf's full name is. Let me check. We just cyberscore.live sheet. It's Martis Monino. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, but all the love. Great start for Level Up here in game number 1. As I told you, there's just always good incentive to get the W. And with my utter disgust for the Earth Spirit, I'm definitely going on the Level Up side, especially after that 3 to the game. Hopefully everything is resolved on our end in terms of the stream. But yeah. So in terms of last hits, pretty good start for NJ. As he is at 10-1 so far. One thing the Earth Spirit is really good at is last hits. I'll give him that. He just also got a buff to that stat in the recent patch. One of my biggest fears is definitely a lot of people starting to play the hero once again on the mid lane. But I was never a big advocate for the Earth Spirit on the mid. I think his toolkit is just really well suited for a position 4. But everything it does individually for every skill, there's always a better option. So obviously, why would you go for something a hero is semi good at if you can just get one thing that your hero is really good at and outzone it? As NJ getting really low to the HP bar and will be forced out of the lane for now. Yeah, we are slowing down for some reason on a laning stage. Feels a little weird. Mid lane and safe lane going pretty decently. A lot of last hits on Elim's Darkseer. As he cuts off a courier as well. Wave cut galore out the wazoo. As there's also another cutoff up top. A good play with the cogs. But at the same time, Atuf is just gonna destroy you. The Pugna is working overtime. Is down bottom. Rubicon is in trouble. Elim and Kokwala will find their angle. As the Dark Willow and Darkseer combo, the double D's nuts, will be, you know, hit on onto Rubicon. Talk about a good catch, for sure. Once again, the raises and the cogs combined, they just do wonders. As the clockwork will take care of the tombstone. Just a little bit of a letdown on the approach. But Yayo is just gonna keep on pushing through. Yeah. Garbati, or more Eastern European more Eastern European Garbatli is doing a really good job with the clockwork. I'm not gonna lie, it is the first time we're casting Impossible. In my way, that is. Because I have watched the games, but, you know, we each all have our own pronunciation decks or cards. And we're like switching things up in general, so. But yeah, as we push up top, Yayo pushes forward onto Amano. I believe the SF is dead. For a second time in a row, Yayo, pawn low, and Atuf continue the cooking, but with NJ's rotation, okay. Go kill onto the Undying. Impossible are fighting back the earlier aggression on the top lane. And yeah, and with the previous engagement, they have proved that they can dish out their own as well. As it looks like Rubicon's in trouble once again. Liam keeping with the contact with the surge. It looks like a little bit of trouble, but a beautiful vacuum into the Bramble Maze. But the Decrepify save coming around from a Tooth. It could be a kill onto the Dark Seer. Thunder Blast, it's still going to be in reach. Good with the play as Matson. Coming with the rotation. Kind of sad to see, though, that the only loss LevelUP have actually suffered was in the Namiga series, where they were forced to take literally last second stand-in play, where Matson lost electricity. But they did manage to even up the series with a 1-1 against Namiga. But yeah, the scorecard is not flawless on the LevelUP side. As, to be fair, neither is Call Me Chada's, but at the same time, their march continues to victory. Yeah, the 3-man rota around the tier 1 tower on the bottom is going to continue. Ponlo is more than likely going to go down despite the ensnare. Someone with an ion shell is going to continue to follow you all the way to death. But yeah, this season only one perfect scorecard can actually happen. Call Me Chada have a chance for it. We shall see if they'll achieve it post level up match, but maybe not just yet. As hold on, Matson fighting back, gets in J, but Amano is getting pretty low. Matson keeps up the follow. Nice little dodge out against the Rays. As you lose your flies away. I don't think they're going to want to go for the follow. Seven on 7, 8 minutes in. Both teams actually keeping up a really good average in terms of kills. With all this amount of action, we kind of skipped over Shrine of Wisdom contests, but basically the fact that LevelUP forced Yayo to pick up theirs was kind of an interesting tactic. Obviously, usually it supports that game disability, but maybe more than likely they want Flesh Golem a little bit faster on the Radiant side. And they went for this aggressive approach as Ponlo. He's basically using the mirror images as little spies of information, but it is putting the Naga Siren's life on the line as Ponlo will go down for the second time on this map. And Jay with the aggression in the jungle. Does see Rubicon, it is nighttime, so it's up to Atuf to actually get the intercept off. But the ward below the Roshan pit will tell everything to NJ and the team. Garbatli could be looking for the aggression. But they are calling out as they're looking to move over to Palantimos upon. Isn't actually wanting to fight mono e mono enough to actually get the kills on your enemies. You gotta keep up that farming tempo. That is something that usually separates Ancient and Divine bracket players. One thing I definitely always notice once you get out of that certain bracket, players just farm incredibly faster than they used to in a certain bracket. Like just the amount of creeps killed is like the biggest separation for core players in those given brackets. But yeah, LevelUP doing a really good job of, you know, taking their time. Waves are shoved. It is not time for them to push. They could reorient themselves towards the bottom lane, but they could just wait for the Dark Willow, Dark Seer to push out, find kills inside the triangle like this on NJ as they move over to the Clockwork as well, reel in the Clockwork inside their own cogs as the ball will more than likely connect onto the clockwork. Yeah, you can also wait for the Dark Will Darkseer to overextend, and then, you know, go for the good old pincer maneuver. As Gaben, after 10 minutes of convincing, finally is now 51% confident that Arandia might have a chance. A very dire favorite is Mr. Newell these days. I don't really understand why. That's a good catch onto Rubicon. These kills have been miserable for him. He was silently gets a good Sunder commit as Koval wants to make another turnaround, but the tower will take out the Willow. Dream Coil snapped. It looks like Darkseer will follow the Dark Willow. Alim suffering the exact same fate as his teammate. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. 6 kills up. We are at 14 minutes in. A perfect time to push on a dire off lane. Maybe a good window into the Shrine of Wisdom, if it may be. You are kind of a little bit scared of the Requiem of the Souls, but are you really? The bottom tower does get a little bit of love, but not just enough. It is more than a possibility that LevelUP just want to stick up topside. Roshan is about to move in about a minute. Ignoring that Shrine of Wisdom avoids you from becoming this kind of hourglass approach to the game. Both teams actually ignoring the 14-minute Shrine of Wisdom for the time being. Matson drawing up an extremely deep move to actually hunt down the SF. Commits to the Dream Call. He does have vision onto Amano as Reckoning of the Souls comes through, but it's easily face shift dodged. Terrorize. Coming in as a reaction is inside the cogs. Matson debates the team into an extremely deep move, which works out not the way they wanted it to. That was not the plan, more than likely, Chief. I don't think that was our original intention, was it? I don't know. There's a support. As soon as Shrine of Wisdoms are being ignored, there's like this 7-minute alarm clock in my head going off, going wee, pick that shit up. Come on, get on that right the goddamn now. But it's kind of ignored right now, which is triggering me. I don't know. Some people get triggered by certain phrases, by certain people. I get ignored by people ignoring Wisdom Runes. As Yayo getting to enjoy the power of the 3v1, but I don't think he's still going to get that kill onto NJ. Still, Matson coming around the bend will take on at least a Clockwork. Just a little bit of a counter kill, but you know, Yayo sacrificing himself this hard is kind of a calamity. But NJ, still a certain chance on this board. As go join up onto Rubicon once again. This TB's given a lot of free time, but they are looking to punish it every time. Impossible. These rotations I am pretty much a fan of, but they're totally ignoring the rest of the map. If we can just ignore mid and top lane, they're doing pretty fine for themselves, but the problem is Dota is a 3-lane game where they might as well just suffer. Koival not disengaging on time will suffer the consequences himself. As both Shrines of Wisdom will eventually be picked up. NJ getting the XP on the side of the Dire. Yeah, Vessel Midas. As soon as you see that build, here I am getting the PTSD of copy playing the hero constantly. I do believe that was last season, though, that he was spamming it really, really frequently. That's not an EPL season 28, but like the previous Dota season in and of itself. But yeah, in general, the 739 season has been a bit of a blessing in terms of the balance of the game. And even if its timing and excitement is pretty good, frequently bringing us these fights as Garbatli is gonna get caught. A mono on the run inside the river using the water tube as a speed boost, but in goes NJ into the middle of everything. The Terrorize is a little bit of disruption, but Ponlo with the Song of the Siren disruption, giving away vision for the zombies to just spawn in. Amano and NJ, they're looking for the combo. Out comes the Magnetize along with the Requiem of the Souls. But it's just empty screams into the void as the Magnetize just gives an opportunity for LevelUP to reset, regroup. And they could go from the approach with the advantage. If you go from river source every time, you can just roll into people. Enjoy the movement speed bonuses. Fighting here is always extremely awkward for the defending team, in my opinion. That is why we see most of the fights rather fought under the tower or possibly on the outer river in and of itself. Koval almost dying to just pure decays as Matson finds a catch instead. But yeah, defense should always contest this cliffage, by the way, where poor old little Godbatley was caught once again. Yeah, that cliff should always be defended at all cost. The first tier 2 will go in favor of LevelUP sub minute 20. Things are looking to chill down just a bit. There's a limb. Right outside in the river. Not the position you want. So we're looking to just chillax for a little bit. In minute 21. And as soon as I say that, NJ just rolls on by the screen with his haste rune. And the tombstone reaction will send Impossible running. Where are they? Oh, well, they're not fast enough. Out comes the Dream Coil. NJ rolling back in, throws out the Magnetize. But is it enough damage? With the Terrorize and the Magnetize, it might just be enough penalized to actually get these kills. Matson will pop as Ponlo does help out with the Song of the Siren, but it's not sharded up, so it doesn't really heal them back into play. The mid laners will exchange lives with the play as Rubicon is dishing out the damage as punishment for Impossible, but a limb looking to reconnect. Possibly onto Ponlo as Garbatli receives a little bit of Crimson buff reinforcement, but still the damage is too much. Satan even needs to censor it off of camera. Don't show them that kill, no. It's horrible. But yeah, besides the grotesqueness, we shall continue. As LevelUP will keep up with that 1 kill per minute average. Just destroying anything Impossible is throwing at them. They did suffer heavily on the casualties front as well, though, in this fight. Losing position 2 and 3 was not really ideal, but Amaro is kind of strong with the Mantis-style Dragon Lance. Plus, of course, the unforgettable Mask of Madness. You've got that nice little attack speed going for you. As a region rule will be bold. Impossible could still force the issue on the mid lane, though. So you have Wall of Replica, Magnetize, everything pretty much alive. As in Jay. Rolling in with the Magnetize. Goes on to a Tooth. Will bounce over to Yayo, not ideal. As Rubicon joins in on the fight. We'll also get the Magnetize damage coming through. As once again with the Terrorize, it's looking rough. But Amano threatening them with the Reckoning of the Souls. It's not really coming through as Pondo, approaching from the back line, will suffer hard on the Naga. But tier 1 on the mid lane defended all for your position 5. That is kind of nice. 23 minutes in. Yeah, LevelUP are doing a really, really good job at keeping their separation. Not going to get vacuumed that easily. And pulled in for Wall of Replica. Well, the hype is real. Alim. Keeping contact on Matson, but as you do all know, Ethereal Jount will separate him off with the double D combo. Now, I'm not going to call them Dark Willow and Dark Seer walking in the jungle. They're going to be the double D combo. I don't care anymore. They're both dark and edgy and, I don't know, emo hero pair, I guess. Talking about the emo hero pair, down bottom, they're going to find poor Atuf as Matson keeps in contact with NJ. Gets the kill onto the Earth Spirit, but Atuf looking a little low, get Curse Crowned, and yeah, the Pugna dies. But what can Matson do alone in this situation against 3 people? Pretty sure we'll find out soon, but it doesn't really look like Impossible wants to stick around to find out more. I know full well that if they go for full aggro, that LevelUP will just come out or react to them. Plus, chasing Puck never feels great. Back in classic draft orders, Puck used to be called a lot of times the techies of the mid lane. Always baiting you into bad situations with the Illusory Orb and the Blinks. Yeah, as the average viewer always will associate the techies with bad views and minefields. Puck can do the exact same thing, but with basically the enemy team. Just making you go for a wild goose chase, which basically ends with you most of the time dying in enemy territory. That's cool. Insta-reacting with the Yule Scepter. They combine it with the Reckoning of the Souls as Matson is looking really, really low, but a lucky Illusion Rune will keep the Puck alive. Good with the dodge. Matson now back to full HP. Is looking to continue the chase. Kowal died for the previous engagement. Let's not forget Garabatli. He is the support killer. Matson, he continues the massacre. As tier 2 is ready to be served. LevelUP continue the aggro, continue the tempo, and push it to the limit. As tier 2 number 2 will fall on the mid lane just 6 minutes after the first one. So I'm going to Siren approach coming out from Pablo. Good with the approach as they lay down the tombstones, surround the SF as much as possible. Good. 4-staff save onto the high ground, but Amano is going to be chased by Matson up to that HG. As on the other hand, Palante was going to come contact from the other side, but they save the SF with the Glimmer. The Magnetize not deterring LevelUP, but after the fact that they did lose one, and they might just lose the Undying here as well. Beautiful play with the Terrorize and the Brambles. Level Up are kind of sitting ducks here, but eventually Rubicon will get the kill onto a limb at least. Sunder play onto the Clockwork as Garabatli will be next. And can he make the catch onto the SF? Essentially, the DPS is just a little bit higher on the TB, but Amano ensuring the positional advantage for the team with the Reckoning of the Souls. He can keep up the right clicks a little bit longer than the TB. He should know that, as one last soul rip going out onto Rubicon. Can he keep up the contact on to NJ? No, he cannot. He needs to disengage. It's just him at this point. Spawno dying to more than likely a tower. In that situation, trying to gain a little bit of vision. Yeah, there was this awkward situation where he was on that high ground but wasn't. Yeah, he literally died behind the tier 3, so. Talk about awkward, you know, trying to make that reach happen. But yeah, I still commend Amano, like, despite the fact that basically his lane and the top of the map was lost so fast in the game. He's keeping up a really good pace and is generally out-farming Rubicon in this situation. It's kind of wonderful to see. Rubicon. Still looking for the passive approach. They're letting a 2 just another ward things down. But yeah, as creeps disappear, Rubicon will engage with the Demon Zeal. Straight onto the racks. After the tower falls. But yeah, the Demon Zeal working overtime as Matson. Easy call onto NJ. Off screen. But yeah, he's basically generally on the hunt, as the Earth Spirit was just not living up to par against the Puck as predicted during the draft. Yayo ready to lay down the law, throws out the Tombstone to keep the enemy at bay, but Amano could just long range destroy it. Easy to crupify onto the Tombstone coming out from a tooth, thus delaying Amano, just destroying the whole thing. As nice vacuum on a 2 with the wall of replica. But Rubicon is just fighting back against the illusion. Will easily take care of that thing. I do like the little detail that Olim is trying to achieve, where the undying illusion is beating down on the Tombstone, but at the end of the day, it won't really matter. Rubicon, even from the low ground, is going to get this tier 3 tower no matter what. Speaking of illusion warfare, reflection goes out. One last vacuum, possibly trying to help out as NJ with a deep roll in, throws out the magnetize. He is dishing out a ton of damage, but Yayo with the BKB is hanging in there with the Undying for as long as he can. Another sword is about to be available as Matson just cannot keep up contact with Amano. The Pug disappears. As with the Roshan claim, the Aegis is gone, but Rubicon, will he have enough time for the Sunder? The Song of the Siren setting himself up for success, but they don't want to risk it. As Pondo left behind as a sacrificial lamb. Is what it is, as at the same time, yes, you do lose the mid laner and your support, but you still take out another tier 3 tower. I do believe LevelUP are pretty happy campers with this situation. Unless you're looking at that SF. Amano is becoming big, as the mid lane tier 1 will finally fall at minute 32. But yeah, Rubicon Finish with the Scotty. Interesting build, by the way. Manta, Dragon Lance, Scotty. Full skipping the Hurricane Pike for now. Even against a hero like the Earth Spirit. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of times, especially when the Earth Spirit was prevalent on the mid lane, that a lot of Terrorblades didn't really try to go onto the aggro before the Hurricane Pike was done, due to the fact that you kind of needed something to dodge out all the spells, or just, you know, get that distance with the Hurricane Pike in general. Yeah, these days it's less prevalent, as even with the Ethereal, it looks like God BO3 is gonna make it out of there. What a sitch. I was like, sure he's gonna die there, right? Right? But no, Ghost Scepter TP, boys. Sometimes it saves lives. Sometimes. Not all the times. Just a casual excuse for all you Dagon builders out there. Best item against D-Blade, but fairly rarely do we ever see it in pro matches that the game goes so late that we have 10 Dagons on the map. Oh, but those are the best ones, aren't they? Everyone has a ton of HP, everyone's going Avada Kedavra, everyone's reliving their Harry Potter fan days. Oh, just perfection. It's so cute. But yeah, last outer tower going down on the Dire side, 34 minutes into game. Impossible, going for a little bit of an aggro excursion on the mid lane. But with Tormentor being up and ready for the taking, Rubicon, Matson, and Palantimos are to make a rotation over that way. As now we have Song of the Siren with the healing capabilities. Podlo will immediately be punished for that fact. As Impossible looking to pick up their first tier 2 tower. But Radiant Fortification instantly throwing that onto the mid lane.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
But the tier 2 cannot be defended. Amano will have his first tier 2 objective. LevelUP slowly pouring back into the home base. As despite everything, LevelUP don't actually have their buybacks ready, besides Matson. Feels a little bit strange, but the Puck is actually gunning for a nullifier, so that's the only reason that he's trying to farm out a Sacred Relic. He still has his buybacks compared to everyone else. Yeah, with the first tier 2 falling, that's when you usually start thinking about it, right? There are some people that say that you should rather start thinking about buyback holding when your first tier 3 falls, but personally I do feel that is a little bit too late of a mentality to start holding BB. Especially with very, very high negative armor heroes such as the SF. He does have good old presence of the Dark Lord. The armor reduction is kind of ridiculous, and pushing just becomes trivial. There's Rubicon. Looking to come in onto the mid lane. Reflection going through as the Scotty right clicks do slow down, but it's not that much per se. As a little bit of bait for the Requiems. All 3 lanes being pushed out by LevelUP right now. Impossible. They might be in this awkward situation where they need to TP everyone back home. So they just don't have any possibility of getting these cutoffs perfectly, as the Tombstone once again decrepified. It's going a little bit more greener. Another Soul Rip, another Decrepify. Just being annoying with these zombies is more than enough here, as in Jay finally committing. Out comes the BKB and the roll, but Rubicon just with the dodge. As we talked about it, The Force Staff is the Force Staff as a tooth. Re-healed back up. Rubicon looking to continue the aggro. As a little bit of a normal punch onto the TB. Lotus up. He is looking for the upper angle of approach, but he does not have Metamorphosis for 40 more seconds. Palantimos needs to be protected, but you know what? He can protect himself. Soul Rip back up onto the HP. As he does not have the pipe, the BKB, or the Blade Mail anymore. Just the Soul Rip. Cools down, cooldowns, cooldowns. But with the vacuum being pulled back once again, it's still going to be enough for the fight. As Rubicon with the Sunder is just going to reel himself back up. Matson finding casual kills onto the back line as he is looking to become a nice little receiver for Amano's little right clicks. But it is actually the TB illusions that are taking away Amano's HP bit by bit, right click by right click. As in the melee versus ranged form, the TB is actually not that bad in the melee either. But eventually Palantimos will fall. Ran out of that juice, but of course the Ceaseless Dirge is looking to return. A tooth now takes over the cat and mouse game, but will eventually fall as Koval getting caught out on the other end. Tombstone number 2 for Amano to hit down, but there's no Pugna this time to actually put the Gripify on it. Gorbatli is going to go down as Rubicon looking to rejoin with the Metamorphosis. He did take those 40 seconds, but he's got his ultimate now. The Metamorphosis TB is just going to cut down your spirit. That is a dieback on Ninja. As the mid lane is getting ripped apart by the super range creeps. And with one last buyback coming out from Gorbatli, that is basically it for the Dire. The next one is on a limb, 500 gold away, as the dieback on the Clockwork should be the final nail in the coffin. As level up, it's fully theirs. There isn't really much Amano can do. As Mega Creeps are achieved, the Ancient is open and no more tier 4s are left. GG will be called by Koval, 36-27 after 39 minutes. He will not let them do the fountain dive thing. Or at least he doesn't want to. And the Ancient will fall before the SF dies. Clean approach, clean game. Never pick or Sprit in my casts ever again. But yeah, no, still. NJ and, of course, Alim did everything they could to give a good game to the SF. And I must say, was fairly impressed with how Amano was playing the Shadow Fiend. But there was some really, really good Requiem of the Souls there. You just gotta admit it. Basically, the only one that out KDA'd Amano was Matson. But even there, Matson had 2 extra deaths, which were, you know, could have been avoided. Let's just be honest here. But, yeah, level up. Just with the more solid drafts, more solid approach. They basically out-team fighted Impossible every chance they got. And, yeah, let's just throw it to a break. We'll be right back with game number 2 between Level Up and Impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with game number 2 between LevelUP Esports versus Impossible. As it looks like Impossible are stealing some of the, partially the strategies of LevelUP, where they usually are the ones that play the two Fringmaster and the two Tiny. But yeah, some of their East heroes are different. Nation sounds a little intriguing. As it looks like SF Bane and Batrider. Potential aggro, potential saves. But not really clearly defined of an approach here right now. Without the TB, I'm curious to see what Rubicon's gonna come through with. He gets the Medusa. Sure. I do believe it's the only hero that has brought them a loss so far this season, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to check just in case. It was actually the PL that they lost with. Okay. But, interestingly enough, it would be a weird reaction if they would go for the Medusa offlane, right? I mean, the math checks out. It could definitely be a big nuisance for Impossible. Medusa does decently against Mars, so let's just, stick to conventions, right? Let's say that the Medusa goes to the safe lane, Shadow Fiend goes to the mid lane. Although I would love a little voodoo switcheroo in terms of heroes. And then they could just go for the bear at the very end there against the Mars. That would be fun. That would be a little bit more level up speed. Yeah, so far so good. Impossible could definitely pick up a sniper to round things out. And then they basically have the Tiny carry in this situation. If they stick to the Tiny mid lane, possible carry that could make this a world of hurt. Slark would be annoying, I guess. Against the Nightmare and the Lasso. A little bit more activity on Amano. After that rather passive SF game where, oh, I see Puck, I press Mask of Madness, I kill Puck. Kind of gameplay. As they banned the Slark, actually, okay? And they will pick up the Night Stalker for themselves, so it is going to be an offlaner. But Palantimos wants to go creeping in the night and hunting a little bit, so can't really deny him the pleasure if he wants what the heart wants. So then you just gotta pick it for him. As the bear is gonna be picked up by Impossible, actually. Overall, we are gonna go into night rain mode, so day and nighttime cycles will swap. And the night is going to be 15 seconds longer. So get ready for some confusion in terms of timings and where Tormentors and Roshan is. Roshan is going to switch sides at minute 20 instead of 15. So it's just going to be crazy over here for a little bit. But yeah, overall, I do like actually both of these lineups a bit more balanced than the previous one, in my eyes. Although I am a little bit concerned about the mid lane. There, I do not actually see how NJ is going to be surviving this one. Yeah, you do have tree grab, right, for the last hits and a little bit of cleave damage, but in general, you're just going to be bullied to death by shadow raises and approaches. It's just, no. It's just no. In general, I'm not going to be on the confidence side for Impossible. So, you know what? Let's caster curse level up. I am going to go in their favor. Although today doesn't seem to be a caster curse day. Yesterday was kind of horrible with the 6-0. But, yeah. Overall, it is looking rather balanced today so far. As in 6-0, as in I had 6 wrong predictions in a row. But yeah. Fun times, fun times. There are just sometimes one of those days, some of those days, right? You can't always perform, even as a caster. You need those days where you can just fail, crash and burn, and then, you know, move on. Even these guys, you know, video game athletes, video game athletes. You can't be 100% win rate all time, all day, every day. It's just, you're just burning out constantly like a horrible candle. As for repeating it for repeating's sake, yes, it is confirmed. Runa team is going to FF against their next match, their next opponent for today's game. It's going to be an FF for Runa against Team Next Level. As, of course, Passion UA and Kamichada is still going to be played. Well, that's going to be at 8 p.m. So definitely join us for that match. But our second match is not going to be played. I repeat, do not know news if Runa team is going to forfeit their tomorrow match as well. As far as I'm aware, the grand finals could be delayed. So, like, the grand finals could delay, basically, the match. And overall, that does kind of mean that Runa team will need to forfeit. Overall, European Pro League Season 2019. 2019? What the hell? Season 29. What? Brain, what? What am I saying? Jesus. Thank God we're in a pause. Thank Gabe and we're in a pause. Sorry, no blasphemy. Just... no blasphemy intended. It's just rolls off the tongue. Because I'm a bad boy. But yeah, overall, Runa team more than likely balling out of European Pro League Season 29. And it is what it is, but honestly, them being in CIS battles, grand final, as I've mentioned before, some tourneys just go really, really well for you. Some tourneys you just crash and burn. And honestly, both define you pretty well, but as long as you can hang on to the positive ones and have fun, then it's worth competing. As long as you're having frickin' fun, just keep on competing.
30 seconds to
And if you're competing, let me do the casting, please. I'm cheap, like dirt. In the gardening store. Third aisle to the right. You can plant seeds in me. I'll make your thingies grow faster. I'm just good for the environment in general. I'm not toxic, I promise.
the battle begins.
As the 5-man smoker between the two teams is just going to result in the 2-on-2 on the bounties. It's just an easy GTFO from Amano and Garbatli. No casualties, no death approaches. We be chillin' in the first few minutes of the game. Night Rain, as most of you may know, specifically the Dire Night Stalker, does kind of mess up the map balance and the order of things. Well, as far as I'm aware, Tormentor is an exception. But yeah, Roshan's going to take his first walk instead of minute 15. He's going to be switching sides at minute 20. But other than that, it's just going to be nighttime at the beginning of the game and daytime later. This, in some cases, can cause a 5-minute delay on some heroes. But overall, it's just about the map rotation. And one of the biggest reasons why Dire-oriented teams like picking up the Night Stalker is that it just messes with people's brain in general. Just a few more pings, a few more miscommunications of where things are. Can add insult to injury. And obviously, the number one reason why you go for Night Rain in and of itself is that the first 5 minutes, you actually have a genuine hero on the Night Stalker instead of a freaking creep.